Okay, welcome everybody. Today we have Chad Rubin from Skubana here, and we're going to talk about, he sells about $12 million a year in parts on and off of Amazon. We're going to talk about the tool that he's come out with that basically, gives a lot of the options that have the bigger tools that most of us can't afford. It makes it affordable, and you pay per use, and there's a lot of things that weren't available to smaller sellers, that can't afford several $1,000s a month, just for one tool to keep track of everything all in one place. Welcome, Chad, and why don't you tell us about how you got started selling on Amazon and how that all came about.
Absolutely. Thanks for the introduction, and thanks everyone for having me. I know you have a lot of places you could be at 6 o'clock Eastern time, so thank you. So my background is my parents had a vacuum store. I was on Wall Street and they were going out of business. So I decided, I actually got laid off from my job, and I bought my parents' inventory out of bankruptcy. They went bankrupt. I bought the inventory. I sold it online with a Volusion storefront, and it just went like hotcakes. So I tried to replenish that inventory, and I couldn't buy it again. So I decided to go direct to consumer before direct to consumer was really the cool thing to do. So I've been doing it now for 8 years, and I've developed a software called Skubana that I've used to help build my business and automate it. And so we've now offered it to sellers everywhere around the United States. And what Skubana is an end-to-end software to run your entire business, to automate it, to operate it, and to accelerate it.
Okay, great. Now, how much of your business is actually on FBA, or do you do FBA at all, or are you fulfilling all your own orders?
Yeah, so we, firstly, I'm not just on Amazon, by the way. A lot of people, I believe that selling on Amazon is a channel. It's not actually a business. I think you need to be on multiple channels to make it a true actual business. So, at one point, Amazon was 100% of my revenue, and I've been able to tailor that down tremendously because I come from the Wall Street mentality where I would never invest in a company that has one customer. And if someone's just selling Amazon, they have one customer. So I believe in spreading out the love and selling everywhere you possibly can to make money. So in terms of my own Amazon business, by the way, I am a mix of FBA and FBM. I've been able to automate my business. I have a pick and pack operation in New Jersey where I've outsourced it to others to do the pick and pack, and also overlaid that with FBA.
Great.
If you want, I can dive right into the Skubana demo, or we can open up. I want this to be a collaborative discussion where I'm showing people dropping golden nuggets of information that's super helpful to everybody on the line to maximize everyone's time here today.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of, the members of my mastermind groups, at least, are using Amazon, as their fulfillment channel, of course. Mm-hmm. A lot of small sellers can't afford to have a fulfillment company, doing all their fulfillment and, replicating it on Amazon FBA as well. So there's a lot of options out there now to list your items from Amazon and also put it on other channels. So diversification is really a great way to go. Especially since everybody's getting suspended. I mean, I've even been suspended once, so it can really happen to anybody. And most people I talk to have at least been suspended one time.
Absolutely. I've been suspended a couple times. So I know what it's like even to be suspended while being on vacation. So I've been there, done that. And the first time was really around overselling. So having the proper inventory system. So if you have 10 iPhone cases that you're selling on Amazon, Well, if you're selling those 10 on eBay and you sell out of the 10 on Amazon, you still have 10 on eBay. So how do you actually communicate those inventory numbers to other channels so that you don't oversell and give a seamless customer service, customer experience? Right. But for a lot of the sellers that are on today, that are on this webinar, even if you're just selling on Amazon today, there's ways that you can actually be selling off-channel that are not risky at all, where you can be utilizing your FBA inventory to have Amazon fulfill on your behalf. And you can do that with Skubana as well, which I'm happy to show everybody.
Great. So why don't you just take us into a demo of your tools and everything that it offers.
Cool. So
and you
let's
can
see.
share your screen too if you need to, Chad. If that helps at all, feel free.
There's a green button at the bottom. Okay, you got it.
Great. Did you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Hey, Chad, we have the question before you dive in from someone that asked, other than eBay, what channels are there?
So we're about to get into that. If you look here on the left-hand corner of Skubana, I'm selling on, this is my live account, everybody. So you're seeing on my software on Skubana that I'm selling on all these channels and more on the left-hand side here. So Sears, Rakuten, Newegg, eBay, UK, Canada, my own website, Amazon UK, France, Germany, and Canada. And if you go to the settings section, so this is the dashboard, right? This is where your blood, your cholesterol, your heartbeat, this is where everything is housed on Skubana. But if you click on the settings section, I'm going out of order, but if you go to sales channels, you'll see all my sales channels that I'm currently selling on. So this is everywhere that I'm selling. So Rakuten, Sears, Price Falls, Overstock, Newegg, eBay, all these channels. So the idea is that you want to take Amazon from being 100% of your revenue, baby steps. You move to 95%, then you go to 90%, then you go to 85%. So the idea is you want to look at e-commerce like Monopoly. How do you win at Monopoly? You win at Monopoly by being on every part of the board possible. So that if somebody lands on Park Avenue, if somebody lands on the utility, if somebody lands on the railroad, the person pays up. And it's the same thing for e-commerce. So our integrations are all out of the box, plug and play. If you click on Amazon, you put in your credentials, and you're ready to rock and roll. If you're an FBA seller, you can actually select it here, and we'll create you a virtual FBA inventory on the inventory screen. If you want to show your FBA inventory to FBM listings, we have the ability to do that as well. But the key here for the integrations is that there's no custom setup. There's no extra developer fees. There's no even contract to sign, right? Everything is just plug and play. You're in business, ready to rock and roll. So that's the sales channels, and the same happens for shipping providers. Our integrations are all just one-click integrations. You click a button, and now you can actually enable UPS on our software, nothing to download, which is is fascinating because nobody's doing this today.
Now, the sales channels that you were selling on, is that every sales channel that's available? Or is there other ones that you aren't using?
No, I mean, these are the major, you really want to be on the major sales channels, and that's what we're doing. So our integrations are with every major shopping cart, which is a big part of my play, is owning your own storefront. So every major shopping cart, Magento, BigCommerce, Shopify, and every major marketplace out there.
Great.
So shipping providers, by the way, if you don't ship in-house, no worries. Actually, you can use these for our return functionality as well. Now you can actually print return labels right from the software, right on the cloud. Nothing to download. In terms of warehouses, you have two different opportunities here. Skubana is built for the smallest sellers to the biggest sellers. So if you want to grow into certain features, you can. So a lot of our customers start out with a direct in-house fulfillment center. There's print settings here. So now you can print your label, your packing slips, your pick lists. And I realize there's a lot of people at FBA on the line too, which I'll get into as well. Are there any people that print shipping labels themselves today? Or is it mainly FBA sellers?
I believe it's mostly FBA sellers.
Okay, no worries. So everything green here is coming out of my 3PL, which is also automated. If you go here, communication settings, all of our orders from all of our channels are dropped onto the 3PL. They drop on tracking, they drop on inventory, and we push that to all the marketplaces and shopping carts. We have a vendor area where you can put in your vendor information, which automates drop shipping. Then we have something called order bots. So this is where things really start to get spicy. So these are rules that you can set up. You create them, you activate them, you set them, you forget them. So here's an example of one that I use where the order comes in where the weight is less than a pound, the country is the US, and they didn't pay for shipping, and it always is going to ship this way. But if you're an FBA seller, let me show you the possibilities. So you go here to new order bot, and let's just say you list a product on eBay. So you pick the sales channel as eBay. Well, so this is the if. If the sales channel equals eBay, then what do you want to do? Oh, well, I can go here and I can say, I want to have Amazon fulfill every order for eBay. So with a click of a button, every order that comes in from eBay is now being fulfilled by Amazon US. It's pretty nifty, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's take it one step further. Let's just say you want to expand into Amazon or into Germany, whether it's with your own shopping cart on BigCommerce, or perhaps maybe you have an Amazon Germany warehouse with FBA. So let's pick the country as Germany. Now with a click of a button, everything that sells on eBay Germany is being shipped from your Amazon Germany warehouse. You set it, you forget it, and that's it. You're done. You never have to visit this again. You've just created an order bot that automates fulfillment for your business.
Great.
So email templates, these are all customizable, packing slips. And by the way, for the order bots, you can do them on a product basis as well. So you can say, if the product is this, then it ships this way. A few other things to mention is there's user administration permissions and privileges. So literally, you can give access to certain people in your organization. So if you don't want people to have access to analytics, you don't have to allow that here. You can just disallow it. So it gives people in your organizations a sense of accountability.
How many users do you get, Chad? Is it limited to like one at a lower tier, or?
As many as you want to come to the party, you can have.
Okay.
There's no limit.
At all pricing levels?
So that's so just real quick, since you brought up pricing, is that Skubana is built by sellers for sellers. So our motto is life, liberty, and the pursuit of success. And what that means is that no seller should be left behind. So no setup fees, no custom development, no percentage of revenue, because it doesn't matter to us if your order is $1,000 or $1. It's still the same processing power to process that transaction. The other thing is that there's no contracts or commitments. So in terms of users, have as many as you want to have come to the party. Our pricing is driven by your order volume, and we split it between standard and FBA. And FBA is 50% off or more of your standard orders.
Okay. And that includes all channels too that you listed, right?
As many channels as you want, as many users as you want to have.
Okay, so there's no limit on
I know it's unheard of, guys, but this is refreshing to see pricing on the front of the page in your face with the kind of concessions and the availability that we've made to have for every seller that's out there today. My goal of this call, guys, is to eliminate hair loss and money lost in the process. So if I can save people 2 or 3 years of this, we're all good.
It's too late for me. I know it's too late for me. Where were you like 10 years ago?
Yes, I was going to use that one. Yeah.
So the last thing I want to mention is that in the company information, Skubana actually automates product purchase orders that are generated based on how much you sell and your lead time and your min. Skubana will automatically generate a PO, and I'll show you how that happens. And it's awaiting your approval, by the way. Never will send out a PO without your approval, but it automates that repetitive process. So the name Skubana derives from Skubana. We thought back to ourselves, what do people want to do with their life? Sellers want to automate their life, sit back on the hammock, relax, have a beer, and just spend more time with their family. So Skubana, we've implemented a lot of automation rules into Skubana to allow you to have that as a seller. So that Todd Ryan can go from part-time to full-time, but to go from full-time with his family versus full-time working in his business versus on his business.
Right.
So orders, any way you fulfill, it comes into our software, whether you multi-channel fulfill, whether you're printing shipping labels in-house, whether you're exporting to a 3PL, we support any way you fulfill your orders. So right now I have 294 orders that are waiting to be exported, and it's all on autopilot. Now, if somebody buys from you and wants to return something, you can come here to Shipped. Let's just type in the name Todd Ryan. I don't know if Todd's a shopper with us. Maybe not. Oh, Todd, you got to buy your vacuum filters from us.
Vacuums have filters? I didn't know that.
Let's just pick the name Todd.
Yeah.
So gentleman by the name Todd calls up. He's an eBay customer. And what is the eBay customer buys? He buys let's see what it is. Let's just say it's a vacuum filter. You can create a return label right through our software, nothing to download, all in the cloud on a secure SSL. Everything's encrypted. And now you can actually, the customer calls up, you want to give them a return label, great. So let's just say it's 7.8 ounces, so it's going first class mail, my packaging. Where do you want to return it to? Do you want to email them a label? Fantastic. And the next step is returned items. So we're tracking all the items in our database with what's being returned. So the biggest question that nobody asks themselves in e-commerce is, what is your most returned item? Nobody can answer that, and now you can with the proper data. And we're just getting started here. This is the appetizer, guys. So if you're FBA, stay on the line because I'm about to blow your socks off with analytics, with profitability reports for every item that's in your warehouse. So we'll get to that in a short while. Just stay on the line as I'm going through. Before we move forward, I just want to find out if there's anybody that has questions.
We do have one.
Okay.
So if you want to send items to FBA primarily and MCF to eBay sometimes, you still pay for every FBA order even though nothing goes through Skubana, all on Amazon?
It is. It's going through Skubana. It's going through Skubana, but it's being fulfilled by Amazon. So it's still counting as an order, absolutely. Because we're charging people to use the bandwidth of our server. So think about this. You have inventory sitting at Amazon. Those numbers need to be updated on your channels. And as you sell products on Amazon, those numbers have to be updated on all the other channels as well. So there's a lot of computationally heavy transactions that are happening in our software. Not just that, but you have your analytics that we're pulling, your profitability reports. Everything is being compiled in our system. And that's the beauty of what we've built, is that everything is real time, all in one place to manage everything for the first time ever.
All right, great. We had one more come in, and Jennifer wants to know what you think of Shopify.
I think Shopify is a great platform. Shopify is a shopping cart. So we connect, they're an integrated partner. They've done a great job, and they built a robust platform that allows you to build a storefront off channel. Shopify is great. I think BigCommerce is also fantastic. And depending on what your needs are, if you're looking to build a shopping cart, those platforms both have different things that are boasting well for it. So you have to, I would really call up Shopify, call up BigCommerce, see what the differences are. Do you need attributes? Do you sell a certain product that one shopping cart is better than another shopping cart for? So you definitely have to weigh your options, and I'm happy if you want to run by me what you're selling and how you want to grow your business. I'm happy to provide some services or answer some questions offline as well.
All right, great. does Skubana come with tutorials? And I think I actually have links to a couple of them.
Absolutely. So when you sign up on Skubana, there's a sign up button right on our site. So it's for the first time ever, you can sign up for a 14-day free trial. Once you sign up, there's an onboarding guide that gets sent to you right away. On top of that, there's an FAQ where you go to support.skubana.com and you can see the FAQ that can help you get onboarded. So support.skubana.com, go to it, and now you can decide how you want to get set up, whether it's getting set up or how to use everything you need to run your business.
What about Wix? So one of our members uses their e-commerce website is hosted by Wix.
So for me, when I'm deciding on using a shopping cart, Wix was not really meant to be a shopping cart. Wix was really meant to be a content management system, more of like a brochure site. So if you're looking to build a robust business, I would suggest looking at BigCommerce or Shopify, but currently Skubana does not support Wix because they're not really built as a shopping cart. Make sense?
Hopefully, Tina, if for some reason you have any further questions on that, just go ahead and post it and we'll address it next. But yeah, otherwise that's it for now. So if you want to go ahead and move forward, we're all ears and eyes.
Sure. So for products, we have a whole database to maintain your products. So you can see here the performance over time, your listings that you sell it on. And if you click on this product, this is where you put in your product information. Gallery goes here and your listings to you. So this is all your channels that you sell this product on so that there's proper synchronization between Amazon and your other channels. Along with that, you put in your vendor products. So in the vendor product information area is where you can put in your vendor SKU, your minimum, your lead time, and your pricing tiers. So when you put this information in, all these inputs go into our forecasting module. So you can properly forecast your items, whether they're at FBA or off FBA. And I'll show you how that happens. So you put in your vendor product pricing, hit save, and you're ready, you're in business. A few things on the left is you can manage your categories and your labels. You can search by products and their listing SKUs on Amazon, your merchant SKU. And then we go right into inventory. So on the inventory page, for the first time ever, you have your inventory visibility across all your channels. So if I click on this product, you can see that I have what I have at my warehouse, what I have in my office, if anything, what I have at Amazon or Canada or UK. So if you want to click on a warehouse here, let's just say you want to see everything that's at Amazon FBA, that's out of stock, you hit 4 buttons and boom. Now, you can see everything that's at Amazon FBA that's out of stock. So now you can go replenish all those items right away. Because the cost of not having stock at Amazon FBA is tremendous. So you can also see, what's below your warehouse minimum. So this is your minimum safety stock. So this is stuff that means that you need to get this replenished right away at Amazon. So now you can see everything that's below your warehouse minimum.
Is that a calculated warehouse minimum or static?
Thanks for asking, Todd. That was Todd, right?
Yes, sir.
So if you actually click on a SKU, so a few things. One is you can put in your min yourself right here manually, but garbage in, garbage out. However, if you have auto PO, Skubana will calculate what your correct minimum is. So we have something called auto reorder rules. So based on your sales velocity, how long you want the product to be in stock for, what your forecasted growth is, based on this information, Skubana will automatically calculate what your minimum is. So again, taking out the manual work. Is that helpful, Todd? I know it's been a while since you've seen the platform. I'm sure you're seeing a lot of things for the first time right now.
Yeah, the UI has changed drastically. It looks very good. But we came off a Restock Pro webinar a couple of weeks ago, and that basically the functionality is to help you determine how much you need to reorder for your replenishables. So I was asking kind of with an eye on if this would be a replacement for Restock Pro if you were currently using them.
Oh, absolutely. So our goal is to there's no need to use fragmented softwares to run your entire business.
Okay.
So our philosophy is that everything should be running out of Skubana because it's all under one roof. It's real time. But not only will we give you suggestions on how many to reorder, we will actually calculate and create a purchase order on your behalf awaiting approval. And I'll show you how that happens. But you can see we do a whole lot more. I mean, this is an enterprise-grade application built for the biggest sellers. So you can go as far down the rabbit hole as you want. If you only want to use certain parts of the software for functionality or you need to grow into it, you can. That's why our pricing is built to scale.
Okay.
The next tab here at the top is channel allocation. So here's where you can show how much you want to show to the channel. So if you're building a Shopify store or a BigCommerce store, let's just say you just want to show 4 to the channel. So does anybody know why you'd want to show 4 to a channel, even though you have 13,000 in stock?
Is that the scarcity mentality?
Exactly. You're creating a false sense of scarcity. And what scarcity does is it creates demand. Demand creates opportunity, and opportunity creates conversion. So you can actually show different numbers to the channel. Now, the other reason why people use this is because repricers sometimes on Amazon are built that say, you know what, if Todd only has 10 left in stock or under 10 left in stock, let him win the buy box. So now you're able to win the buy box without competing based on price. It's really fascinating. So the other thing is that you can actually, for me, I don't do any multi-channel fulfillment, but you can actually exclude warehouses from being shown to certain channels. So I exclude Amazon's FBA inventory from being shown to my other channels. The last thing I want to mention here on the inventory side is history. So throughout Skubana, for every part of the software, there's history throughout, there's an audit trail. So it changes the conversation from who to why. You never have to ask who did what again. You just have to ask why did you do it. There's a timestamp, there's a user, and what they did. So there's more accountability in our software. The next is your purchase orders. So if I go here to purchase orders, Skubana will automate purchase orders awaiting authorizer approval, whoever you've approved for purchase order authorization. Once it's authorized, it goes into awaiting confirmation from the vendor. So here's a PO, CV1021. This is what's in the PO, one product right now. I can add more products to this PO. There's history for the entire thing of what's happening with the PO. You can actually update details for this purchase order items. And if you wanted to, you can actually just print right from the cloud. Again, nothing to download. You can be running your business in Bali in Indonesia while using our software. And believe it or not, we've got a lot of sellers who are doing this exact same thing. So you can print your purchase order, you can download it, and then once it's awaiting confirmation, you're waiting for it to be delivered. After you confirm it, it's pending delivery. And you can receive it right into stock right from here. You can bulk receive things into stock. So if you have an FBA warehouse and you have replenishment in your own facility, you can do that as well. Again, any way you fulfill and it's customized to how you want to run your business. You can create a new PO right through the software right from here. So you can go here if you don't want to have it on autopilot and you want to create it from a vendor you've set up, you can hit continue and create a new purchase order right from here. Questions on the POs or the inventory before I show everybody the holy grail, which is analytics?
Yeah, I have a question. The purchase orders, Restock Pro doesn't actually send them. Do you have a way to send purchase orders automatically?
So since a PO is a legally binding document, you have to always approve it. And only person that can approve it in our software is the person that has approval power, the authorizer approval. You can send it right from our software, right to the vendor, right from here. So you can send it from here. Everything can happen from our database. Remember, Restock Pro is they do like 3% of what we do. This is an entire software, a suite to run your entire business. And the minimum to pay to play is $99, which is unheard of.
We had a question, Chad.
Mm-hmm.
Shannon wants to know if we can integrate with multiple Shopify store out of one account using the same FBA inventory.
Absolutely. You'd also run multiple Amazon accounts, multiple eBay accounts with the same inventory.
No limit. Okay. All right. That's all for now, I think, within the chat. Oh, go ahead.
Okay. So analytics. So here is some fascinating data that we've just started to slowly release. We're almost about officially launching this and making the public announcement of our analytics suite. So what you'll see here is top selling products across all your channels, and you can segment it with custom date ranges. Worst selling products, because you definitely want to get rid of those products. Then you have year-over-year growth. So here you can select a product that you have in your database, and you can see what your sell-through of that product is year over year. Now, the next piece of information that I think is very, very important is SKU profitability. This is what I call the holy grail of everything, SKU profitability and listing profitability. So here you can go to listing profitability, and let's just say you're just an Amazon seller. Skubana will calculate what your FBA margins are across all your products. So let's actually use some, let me move this. Go here. So year-over-year growth, let me just show you how that looks on a live account. Let's just pick a product, Hoover Flare exhaust filter. So you can see quantity sold and sales amount for this product. And you can segment it by your sales channels, including FBA. And you can customize the date range. You can go back as far back as you want to go. Hit OK. And we're just getting started here. So now listing profitability. You can actually go to listing profitability, pick Amazon FBA, and now you can see what is costing you the most money. So not only is this taking into account your cost of your goods sold on Amazon, this is taking into account your referral commission fees and any return fees that are associated with your product and dormant inventory costs. All these fees are coming into this report to give you what your actual cost of doing business is for these SKUs. Now, believe it or not, I have had sellers come on the line using the software. They're doing millions of dollars that have one line item that's costing them $17,000. And you can sort these by gross margin. So what's costing you the most in terms of absolute dollars? What's costing you the most on a product by product level? And also, we rank your SKUs against each other to know what's the worst performing SKUs, what's the bottom of the barrel, so you can get rid of those SKUs. But nobody is creating reports like this today, especially all in one and at the price point that we're doing it at on the cloud. Nobody.
Now, will it show that in any of the graphs so you can see if there's any sort of trend on loss or growth?
Well, you can sort this, and you can actually type in products if you want to know, like, let's just say something that has the word flare in it. You can see anything that has flare in it and what your absolute gross margin is for those items. There's unit margin, implied share. So like, this is a very straightforward report that you can just sort by, see what your hidden fees are, what's costing you the most money. So just in itself, right, that one seller who's doing millions that had one line item losing 17,000, we plugged up that hole of lost money, and Skubana paid for itself and then some for it.
Right, okay.
Taking it one step to the next level is your inventory value, right? You can actually see, based on a warehouse level, what your inventory value is, and we snapshot every day to see what your inventory value is. And you can actually change the date range. You can see how much you're selling at FBA versus non-FBA, or how much inventory is selling at FBA versus off FBA. I would guarantee that most FBA sellers don't really know what their inventory value is. Also, we have turnover reports. Here you can actually see, not turnover, excuse me, critical level. See, we're still working on it. So Hastuna Matata, it's still a work in progress. We're missing just a few, maybe 1 or 2 reports right now, but critical levels is actually the one I was referring to. So you can select a warehouse and you can say, based on the last 30 days, when am I likely to run out of stock in the next 90 days? So you can anticipate where you're going to reorder next. For orders, you can see what your sales overview is, what your biggest ticket items are, customer lifetime value. This is a really fascinating report. You can see on Amazon or off Amazon, any which way, because we don't just support Amazon, we support every channel out there where you're making money. You can see what your lifetime value of your customers are, what percentage of your customers are one-time buyers versus two-time buyers, and how do you increase the lifetime of those customers, the value of those customers. So we're providing sellers today, whether they're small or big, tools with an amazing UI that's all in the cloud at a fraction of the cost to run your entire business end to end without using fragmented softwares to do it. So with that said, I want to open up to questions.
Chad, I actually have a question. It was something that you sent to me today about you've been like #1 on an item or category in Amazon for you said, oh, here it is. You've continuously succeeded in being the #1 seller for your category on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
So what is that, what have you done? Does a lot of it have to do with how you use the software, or was it something, just that you've
I've been able to automate, look, the insights and the analytics and this kind of automation rules and techniques to run your entire business to help you grow your business versus working in your business. You're allowing me to work on my business and build a brand. I could have never have done that without technology.
Right.
So Skubana is the core of how I've been successful. I wouldn't say it's the only piece of it. I would say it's one large part of how I've been able to automate my business and allowed me to scale a software business in the meantime. If you think about it, I'm actually running 2 businesses, but Crucial is completely on autopilot, so I can literally run a software business, and it's been a great ride so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Kathy wants to know if your software has a repricer.
Mm-hmm. So we don't have a repricer. There's a lot of repricers out there. And we can talk more about offline in terms of what the best repricer to go with is. But currently, we do not have a repricer.
Okay.
Right now, we're focused on everything after the checkout. So someone checks out on Amazon, you need to process that order, you need to manage your inventory, you need to create POs, you need to know if you're making money. That's our sweet spot.
Okay. And then Tina says, if you have FBA inventory, does Skubana create the eBay listing?
So again, everything after the checkout we're focused on. We do all the inventory, all the analytics. We can map that listing in Skubana, but we don't actually create the listing on eBay. And just to have a conversation about listings is that I was never the fan of just throwing gum at a wall and seeing what sticks, Valerie. So you need to make sure when you're building listings, not every marketplace is built the same, right? There's different restrictions, there's different content, different titles. I recommend people spending a lot of time building listings and trying to just throw it up and seeing if it sticks. So if you automate the back end of your business, you can work on the front end. work on creating nice food for your guests, a nice atmosphere, and automate everything that happens in the kitchen. And that's what Skubana is, right? We allow you to not spend time in the kitchen, but work on greeting your guests and building a brand.
Okay. I think that there's a little, Jennifer has a question on discussing the price cost of the software. So how exactly it works. I can send everybody a link, or do you want to pull that page back up, or otherwise I can send a link to the.
Yeah, I can pull it up, no problem.
Okay. So, yeah, maybe just go into that so it makes a little bit more sense for like an FBA seller.
Sure. So we split up the world into two different prices. You have your standard orders, which are anything that's not FBA. And so if you're doing, let's just say 100 orders a month, the cost for Skubana is $99.95 because that is our minimum pay to play, which costs less than my gym membership. Now, if you're doing 300, let's just say you're doing 500 orders a month, the cost for Skubana is $150. If you're doing 500 orders a month that are FBA, the cost is $99.95. So we've changed the pricing for FBA because there's less bandwidth processing that's involved. So it's a scalable solution. It's kind of like going to the gas station. You pay for what you use when you use it. And you don't go to the gas station where people say, you know what, you're on a meal plan. You can fill up as much as you want. Or, you know what, we're going to look at your income statement first to see how much you're making before you can use our software. So everything that we're charging at Skubana is directly correlated to the cost that we bear, and we pass that cost on to our customers. I'm hoping that makes more sense. So if you're doing 500 orders standard and 500 FBA, the total cost is $225 a month.
Okay. Tina says, so I'm not sure. So if she builds the eBay listing and link the specific FBA inventory QOH for management?
I think she's asking, like, once she has an eBay listing, how is she tied into her FBA inventory?
Got it. Okay, great.
Sure. If that's wrong or anything, Tina, just kind of let us know. But yeah.
Yep. So to map the inventory, you go to inventory. Now you'll see here. This is an actual Skubana account, and this is the sneak preview of the import feature. Our next feature we're launching will automatically import your SKUs in from your other channels as you list them. So it'll recognize those SKUs and import them in automatically. But in the meantime, if you go to products, and let's just say you create an eBay listing SKU. Now, in order to manage eBay inventory, you need to have a custom label, which is a field or it's an attribute within eBay. So what does that mean is that you can go here, go to listings on the tab at the top, listing SKUs, take your custom label on eBay and link it right here. When you link it, it's now synchronized with eBay. And that's how we manage across multiple channels.
And just clarifying, that label is in actual eBay's listing. There's a custom field. I think you have to enable it, but you can do it in Seller Manager on your listing.
Okay, great. Thank you, Todd.
Yep.
So Todd, you've seen a lot of these softwares before, and we've had conversations months ago, and now you can see that the scope has changed and Skubana is built out even more features. What are your thoughts?
It's come a long way since I last saw it. It looks really great. I think it's an obvious replacement for, because Restock Pro, which is a great product, works well, but it's limited to just Amazon FBA. So for sellers that are, like you said, don't have all their eggs in one basket and they're on multiple channels, there's a huge hole there because they will only get those analytics on the FBA sales. They won't get it on eBay. They won't get it on their individual website. So I think that's definitely a differentiator between that Restock Pro. Their PO process is a little more cumbersome. So yours is definitely a lot more automated. I remember when I was doing a lot of merchant fulfillment, I had to maintain, not only Restock Pro and some other tools, but also ShipStation, because just the logistics of creating shipping labels, for eBay and the different platforms was crazy. So, I mean, this is an obvious drop in for that as well. Combine the two. I think the only piece which you already covered that you would have to do outside of here is creating the listings, if you want to use a tool for that, and the repricing. But other than that, I don't see too many gaps in it.
Oh, yeah. I would say that that we're launching the product import feature, and we're just finishing off our analytics for an official announcement next week. After the import feature, which will automatically recognize all your listings on other channels, the next step would be accounting. So we are working on an integration into QuickBooks. So you can get literally everything, all this data is being pushed into QuickBooks.
Okay.
And you can see, while we're talking, constantly orders are being updated in the back end of our software. So we're real-time inventory management, as real as you're ever going to get, in one place.
And what do you do, or what do you recommend for actual listings? Like, do you guys create them just through Seller Central, or what do you do currently?
We create them. We spend a lot of time on our listings. Like, that is the bread and butter. That's the first thing people see.
Yep.
We do so much on listings, and we do it through Seller Central because we don't believe in just blindly pushing a listing to a channel. Now, imagine you're taking the same data, the same description, the same title, and listing that to multiple places. Mm-hmm. It's duplicate content. And do you know what happens to duplicate content?
It's penalizing search engines.
Exactly. So we change everything.
I got you.
On listings.
So would it be safe to say you're more deep than wide then? Like, you prefer to do thousands of one product versus 1,000 of quantity one product?
So you're saying we have a large breadth of product. I mean, right now we've got 1,500 products on Skubana. I mean, that's a lot of product.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I go as deep as I do wide.
Okay. But you wouldn't pick up a product that you can only get 10 of and then go through this entire process to sell on your business unless it was a high profit.
Yeah, no, our focus is really around, I've built my business around being a private labeler.
Okay.
So we private label, in fact, I don't even call it private labeling. We own the brand. We are the manufacturer.
Yep.
And we sell direct to consumer online.
Okay. And that's one area I think where, like, a lot of people in the group that do retail arbitrage, they may struggle with seeing the value in this because they're going out and scanning, opportunistically at a store, buying whatever they can, and they're likely to never see that product again. Mm-hmm. So that may be the only scenario where it may be tougher, but anyone that's looking to get into private label or doing wholesaling or even liquidation, if it's a replenishable source, I think this definitely have a lot of value in.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, retail arbitrage, some people are making money running their business that way. Mm-hmm. I prefer, I'm very risk averse. I like to have constant replenishment of product all the time and knowing that I'll still make that $10 again over and over and over again.
Yep.
So I come from the background of private labeling. That's just how I built my business. And I'm happy to talk to others around private labeling if they're looking to move from retail arbitrage into more of a sustainable private labeling business.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that we all kind of agree that's where we try to help people achieve to be. Mm-hmm. We have a question. Todd, did you have anything else to add on to that, or are we going to move on to the question?
We move on to the question, but yeah, Kathy's question is kind of she's basically asking about the sync, and not to steal your thunder, Valerie, but I read it. And I know what she's asking. I think I can save some time with Chad, but the Skubana only synchronizes the inventory counts. It does not push listings to eBay or the other channels. So you have to create the listing on each channel, and then it will keep the inventory levels in sync based on how you configure it.
Absolutely, yes.
Perfect.
And there's like small tool. I mean, look, I prefer that people create listings themselves because, again, we spend a lot of time. Our software is built more so for the private labelers than the people who have one or two items that they bought doing retail arbitrage. So we're built from the private labeling standpoint, from people who have lots and lots of inventory to run through.
And one thing that I think, and I remember you guys had this in the software when I looked at it, but it was a very compelling feature because a lot of people don't. But you have the ability to handle kits and bundles.
Oh, yeah. So I am the king of kits and bundles. So we can support not only kits and bundles, but we can also support variations. So if you sell a 2-pack, a 4-pack, an 8-pack of a product on Amazon, we know at Skubana to deduct 8 if the item comes in a 1-pack. All your inventory is being managed appropriately. So you can create a kit or a bundle, find your SKUs in the system, and create it right on the fly.
I know this time of year, a lot of people do holiday bundles, and if you're wholesaling and you have like 2 items from one wholesaler and 3 from another, by being able to recognize bundles and kits, it knows to build the PO to either, to do the multiple parts to make up that kit. So you don't have to think about it on the backside.
Absolutely. We take all the dumb processes and thinking out of the equation and automate it with technology. You don't have to think about POs anymore. Your POs are connected to your analytics. Your analytics are connected to your inventory. You can't run a business with just a shipping software or just a restocking software, or I should call them tools, right? You have to build a business on the proper foundation. It's like building a house. You can't build a house on swampland. You need to build it on proper ground so that you can grow and expand. So getting your storefront set up initially, even in the early stages, is the proper recipe to success in e-commerce. It's a lot harder to migrate and to build out the software and to make it work on your behalf in the later stages when you're a mature, complex company.
Okay. Valerie, I think you're muted, or I don't know if you meant to be or not.
No, I actually like just you guys reading my lips, and I thought it might make it more interesting.
It was cute.
What I was saying.
It's neat how you're trying to communicate with us. It's really cute.
We gotta keep it interesting. Keeping it interesting. Do you want to know how it compares to SKU Vault? If you have any,
Yeah, absolutely. So SKU Vault is a small piece of what we do. So in order to run your e-commerce business today, before Skubana, you need to use multiple applications that are fragmented applications to run your business. So you need a SKU Vault, and then you need a ShipStation, and then you still need spreadsheets, and then the inventory still isn't real time. So we've taken all these fragmented softwares and put them all under one roof. So all this functionality that I just showed in the past tour, you really can't get this out of one fragmented application. The thing is, it's easy to build these fragmented softwares. It's super easy to just build a fragment, but to put it all together, then we're talking about very computationally heavy, complex transactions. And then you still need to bundle it with other software, so then it costs even more. So SKU Vault, as expensive as it is, then you still need to bundle it with 7 other softwares to run your entire business.
One thing, if that's the Dean that I think it is, one thing I know he uses a lot is pick list. Do you guys have the ability to do that for warehouse pulls?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We've got pick list, pack list, and we've got shipping label capabilities built into the software.
Dean also wants, yes, Todd, it's
me. Hi, Dean.
And what about Channel Advisor? He wants to know, can he dump it if he uses?
So just real quick, I wanted to talk, let me see. So essentially you can print your packing slips, and since this is a 3PL order, the pick list isn't showing, but we have the ability for pick lists as well.
Okay.
If it's awaiting shipment in your own warehouse.
And you can track bin or row or that type of thing on the item?
Yeah.
Okay.
So in the inventory page, I actually should have showed this. So.
And Dean's asking the question. Dean is a large seller that has a traditional large warehouse and has been moving towards FBA. So he's kind of bringing that model in, which is where the pick list and that type of thing's coming.
Yeah. So firstly, you have stock levels, and you can have as many locations as you want that are pickable, receivable, or both.
Okay.
You can actually manage your min level on a picking location as well, so that man hours don't go to that picking location and it's empty. So we do have pick locations. We got picking, receiving, on-hand, mins, everything you need to run your business.
Okay.
Now, in terms of Channel Advisor, what was the question regarding Channel Advisor?
It's still from Dean. He just wants to know if using the tools if he could dump Channel Advisor, or if he would still.
We have customers that are coming from Channel Advisor all day long. If your listings are already on Amazon, all you got to do is synchronize them to Skubana. And the most important thing to note is we don't take a percentage of revenue. So there's no tax on growth here, not on your income. So there's no setup fees, there's no contract. So if you don't love our software, you don't need, our goal is to make you love our software so you never leave. And if you love our software, you're never going to leave. So there's no need to lock you into a contract. So I've learned from my mistakes. I've learned that I never want to lock into a 1 year, 2 year with a percentage of revenue. So we have customers all day long that are coming to us because our pricing model is focused on seller success.
Okay. Great insight. What other software do you use in your arsenal along with Skubana? What else is needed? Obviously, we already mentioned a repricer and.
Well, if you're private labeling, you don't need a repricer. So I don't use a repricer. I'm trying to think what other. I use a lot of productivity tools in my arsenal. So it's very untraditional productivity tools. I use Boomerang for my email inbox to have a zero inbox. I use Evernote for all my notes across all my different devices. I use 1Password to manage all my passwords across my devices. So I'm all about efficiency, productivity, and using tools like that to help me do more things. So a great book that everyone could read would be one that I just read. It's called Virtual Freedom. So it's all about how do you automate your business with repetitive tasks. So Virtual Freedom is a great book by Chris Ducker. He's speaking at the Prosper Show, which is a Amazon-focused show in Salt Lake City in February, which I encourage everybody to go to. There's some really amazing speakers that are going to be there. What else can I help with?
Valerie's muted again, so I'll go ahead and ask the next question. What training course for private label or FBA Amazon do you think that you benefit from the most if you took a training course, or are there any that you recommend?
So I come from the School of Hard Knocks, so I've never have taken a training course. In fact, I was thinking about creating one myself. I've learned from a lot of other sellers by talking to people. So I go to these conferences and I just talk to people. And I just talk to as many sellers as I can. And then I learn from my mistakes. So there's a lot to be said by just learning by doing.
Okay.
I'm trying to think if there's anybody else out there. Yeah. No, just School of Hard Knocks.
Yep.
What are 2 other books that you would suggest if you could suggest any?
So Virtual Freedom by Chris Ducker. I read a great social media book by Gary Vaynerchuk called Jab, Jab, Right Hook. I suggest everybody picks up a copy. Everybody in my office, actually, I forced to read that book. So Jab, Jab, Right Hook, Gary Vaynerchuk. And maybe a third one would be Delivering Happiness by Tony Hsieh. He is the CEO and founder of Zappos.com. So it's a book about his approach to delighting customers.
Great. And what percentage of your inventory is private label?
100%.
Okay. Can you talk a little bit about how you got started and how much you got started with?
So like I said, when I first started the conversation, my parents had a vacuum store. They're going out of business. So the goal for me was, how do I put food on the table? So I bought their inventory out of bankruptcy, listed it online. I couldn't replenish it. There was no retail arbitrage. So I just decided to go to China and start manufacturing one item at a time. 8 years later, I now have 1,700 items, roughly, give or take. So we've done a fantastic job of scaling, and we're excited about our growth. What was your other question, Valerie?
That was it. They had just asked a little bit about how you started and how much you started with.
Yeah, and so I started, I had some savings, and I'm really scrappy though. And so what I did was I just invested in one product where I met a factory's minimum order quantities, started with one product, and then that moved to one carton. One carton went to one pallet went to 6 pallets, and now we're talking about containers. So, and it just happens over time. There's no overnight success in this business. No matter how many people say, I'll help you achieve millions of dollars, it just takes a lot of hustle, a lot of grit, a lot of hard work, and being as scrappy as possible. When I first started, though, there was no software like this to run your business. So I was doing everything manually, exporting here, importing here, spreadsheets here. It was crazy. So luckily now we have software to help us automate things and run a successful business that helps you focus on growing your business.
Right. We always stress that it is not a get-rich-quick scheme. There's nothing quick about this. You need to work hard. You need to put the time into it. And fortunately, there are tools like this that can alleviate some of that time that you would normally spend on doing all these things, and give you more time to source or go out and buy or whatever it may be. So focus on the more critical parts of your business. So
or your family, right? Or spend more time with your family.
Or your family.
So,
yeah.
The crazy thing is that I started this business 7 or so years ago, and we just kept reinvesting in the business.
Yeah.
Like my wife was like, "Are you making money? What's happening? Why? What's going on?"
Yeah.
Like, look, you gotta keep investing. You gotta keep growing. In order to grow the way we've grown organically, you have to just keep on reinvesting in inventory, reinvesting in the business, taking your profits, investing that to take more profits.
Absolutely. And then Jan, just real quick, what categories do you stick with? Do you have a preference on categories that you stick with, or?
So the interesting thing that I've noticed, and this is my own opinion, is that a lot of sellers out there today are focusing on these kind of like checklist items that FBA training programs give them. So focusing on a certain category. So if everyone's focusing, Valerie, on the same category, there's groupthink happening. Like, how many spatulas do you need to create in a market?
Yep. So
I'm not actually, like at Skubana, we wrote an interesting blog on this. It's all about emerging niches. So like one of the niches, I focus on my own niche, which is the home appliance category. But there's so many categories to focus on where there's emerging markets to tap into. So an emerging niche would be in the grocery market. It's huge.
Right.
And there's all these niches: organic, gluten-free, paleo, natural, primal, and like opportunity is endless.
Absolutely.
So I don't have a subscription saying, you just have to do one category with lightweight items that are less than $16 but more than $9. That's just not my cup of tea, and I don't think that's how people make real sustainable profit.
That was straight out of one of the training courses, that whole sentence. I think I've heard that.
Agreed. And then she also wanted to know if you do all like cash investment or if you have a financing for your inventory.
All of it is just reinvesting my own money, not taking the salary, and just watching growth occur. So no financing, and I think that retail arbitrage gets a little bit expensive. People are running up their credit cards, and margins are very tight. So when you start to switch your point of view into the private labeling category, where you can go back and replenish that item that you found that's profitable based on what works and keep on doubling down on that item, the sky is the limit.
It's good
Great
advice.
Yeah. Great advice. Hey, we agree, Chad.
I know.
Yeah.
I think you heard me say it and repeated it real quick.
I took the mute button off for a change.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
Oh, go ahead, Todd.
No, I was just saying, I know Chad's got another meeting, so I was going to start wrapping it up so we can free you up.
Yeah.
But I don't see any other questions. But Chad, it was very informative. I mean, it's not to kiss up, but it's a huge honor to have a seller at your level come speak to us. So I certainly appreciate it. I always learn something.
I'm happy to be here. I teach a lot in New York City. If anybody here is in New York City, I teach at General Assembly in New York. I'm always happy to help sellers scale. So you can always email me at chad@skubana.com. If you're interested in Skubana, no problem. You just go here onto our page, hit the sign up button. You get a 14-day free trial, and you're ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, and I think actually, and
Yeah, we're getting tons of thank yous posted to the group. So I think everybody's saying thank you, Chad. So
absolutely, my pleasure.
It.
Thank you, everybody, and have a good night.
All righty, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.